This is Ruvimbo's talk. This talk is prototyping custom AI enterprise solutions with Python. So a little bit less tool-based, a little bit more Python-based. Go for it.
Cool. Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? You sound pretty low, so I brought you gifts. So the more you interact, I've got a nut log chocolate here. I hope no one is allergic to nuts. If you are, you can share it with a friend. Is that okay? Cool. I need more energy. I need a woo somewhere, and then they get the first chocolate. There we go. So I got 3 woos there. I'm going to say, Brandon, please, could you help me? So my talk directly builds off Brandon's talk. We are quite biased towards Google tools, and we work together quite a bit. And for mine, we're going to be using Google Colab. But before I jump into a lot of detail, let me tell you about who I am. My background is in robotics, and I've been working in data analytics and AI for the past 3 years. And within that space, that is the time when we had the large boom of LLMs. We had a lot of organizations saying, we want AI, and we want AI now, but they were not giving us the business use case. So today, I'm going to ask all of us in here to step into the boardroom. So each one of us is a board member, and we have these reports that we receive each and every other month. One particular department that we have a problem with is marketing. Is that okay? Cool. So our marketing department gives us the report, but we know for a fact that there could be some things that could be better, right? So let's start with, if I'm a board member today, what would I be asking myself about my business? What are the people saying about my business? What is the brand risk of my business? Has anyone thought of a business in mind? Has anyone set themselves up in a board? By show of hands? Nobody? Oh, I asked each one of us to step into the boardroom so that we can be a board member for a day. And when we're a board member, we are talking about any organization. It could be your business. It could be someone else's business. It could be you sitting at Google, AWS, at Facebook, sitting on that board, and you've got a bunch of reports in front of you. What would you ask yourself? So I gave one particular question, which is, what are people saying about your brand? So I just want to see for following how many of us are in the boardroom now and are following up with my talk. Yes, so I got 2 chocolates going that way. Let me move my mic here. Here you go, Brandon. You see, there's one thing that's happening with Brandon. He's holding all of the chocolates. I don't see them moving. Brandon, please distribute the chocolates. Please. All right. So reputation shifts are happening in real time, but we're reporting every month, every quarter, at the end of the year. We are reacting a little bit too late. We have multiple tools that can help us in finding out what people are really saying about us online. So our enterprise gap is we have a high volume of details that are coming in each day. Our social medias are flooded with either complaints, praises, or sometimes neutral comments like, well, a thumbs up, yeah? And with this, are we really listening to what the clients are saying, or are we just looking at the top comments and our top reviewers in our organization and saying, well, we're in a good space, and we posted 10 times this month, and we had 10 likes, and we had 5 comments, and that's good. But are we really, really listening to what those 5 comments mean? Are we listening to what was the change from last year? And what was the change from last month? And what happened in between, which we all have context of, between those 2 periods, right? So here's a big question we want to ask today as board members, wherever we are. What is our reputation risk today? And to do that, I have created 2 slides. So my first slide here is a slide that has the spec that comes to the developer, or the spec as a developer that I would want to receive. But in actual fact, what I receive is, we need to do something about social media, full stop. And this is what I need to do my job correctly. So what I went on to do is, as board members, this is where we should be going towards, not necessarily writing this, but getting our teams to be able to be thinking of these solutions in this much depth. Is that okay? Are we still together? A woohoo gets a chocolate. I owe Laura so many chocolates now. So here's our business perspective. Our brand reputation is an intangible asset that we hold, but it is critical. Negative customer experiences, which are expressed on social media, can spread very fast and can ruin a brand that we've been building for years, eroding trust from new customers and customers that we've already had. And if we don't have some real-time mechanism to ensure that we know the sentiment, we detect when we've got risk, and we can escalate things before the month-end report, we'll be able to have some corrective action when people are not happy. So this brings me to demo time. I'd like your phones out, please. Pretty please. Awesome. Amazing. So if you're on GitHub, please scan the first code. If you're not, scan the second code. So I'm not going to ask you to write any code. We're going to do a follow along as I go through what I've placed on that particular line of code. Is that okay? Awesome. Thank you there, Angela. Are we there together? Happy? All right. Please entertain my messy code for a bit. Great. So what you're looking at is not this. This is where I started. So I created a shell initially. And I broke down exactly what we wanted to do. And the first thing we wanted to do was to ingest the social media data that we had. And then we wanted to get the clear sentiments from that data, as well as validate what our brand risk is going to be, do a couple of calculations, and then generate some executive summary that goes straight to the board or to the brand analyst or the marketing person in charge of reporting back to the board. So that by the end of that month, at the end of that quarter, they're not saying we had 5 people talk about us in a negative manner. They're saying we have 5 people who talked about us in a negative manner. We reached out to all 5, 3 responded back, we resolved the issue, so we're in a good space. Good news is always great for everybody, right? So from that ticket review that I had, I just went in, hard-coded some data there, and then from there I then did a few visualizations. Then I had a mind map of where I needed to go. And from there, we then created what you're looking at now. So let's go through it step by step. Let me see how much time I have. Cool. So first, we import some libraries. Let's skip that. And then we go into our API key. So I configured mine as a secret there. And you can then do the same. You can copy you can copy the Colab notebook and then create your own API key and then add it as a secret. Then you're able to run it for your own data. Then from there, we started loading in the data. So I did a fun thing. From Epify, they have a few actors there that scrap data from Twitter. They scrap data from Instagram. They even scrap data from TikTok. So I just ran through the pages there. So that's what I did. And I went back to my notebook, combined it into a singular CSV file, uploaded it, and then it got processed there. From there, I then had it processed by my LLM. I'm using Gemini 2.5 Pro so that it can be able to classify it, and I loaded that data into a data frame. And that is the data that we can see here that has then been classified by sentiment analysis library called TextBlob. And I get this snippet that I have right here. So when you're running it, when you have made a copy for yourself on Colab, you'll see that when you have added in your details, on these 2 edges, there will be 2 icons. The first icon is going to be, do you want to export it to Excel? The second icon is, do you want Gemini to generate visualizations based off your data? So that would then skip the next few steps. And Gemini makes a lot nicer visualizations. The first visualization was just to see the sentiment over the years, because it's fun to see how many people like us now, but how many people liked us last year, how many people are likely to like us next year, but then adding on a predictive layer to it. So here we've got since 2021 to 2025. The data I uploaded is of a festival that happened recently in Zimbabwe. Last week, there was a Jacaranda Music Festival, 3-day music festival. Generally a vibe for everybody, but not everyone agrees. So out of genuine interest, I really wanted to know how many of those people agree it's a great festival, how many are just meh about it, and how many have, well, negative comments about the festival. So the blue that we have there is negative comments. The orange, we can take it as meh. And then the green is positive, enthusiastically positive comments. And then next, we just have a word cloud just to see if I'm to do a keyword search on the music festival, what would I be searching? And when you scroll down, we're going to go to where the executive summary is. And there we played around a bit with some custom prompts. So for this, I did it out of my own head with the help of Gemini, but I'll say sit down next to someone who's got marketing knowledge, and they can let you know some of the things and some of the KPIs that they need to deliver on. And first, we had to analyze the emotion that is within the text. And then we also went on to analyze, sorry about that, the themes that are related within the text. And then from there, we then did a whole overview where we started looking at critical areas that came through. So after that, we generated our report with Gemini 2.5 Pro, and that is what it gave us in Markdown. Additionally, we can then export this and make it a PDF, send it out to the person who's responsible. They review it, they say yes, and then it's spread out. Or we can then analyze it ourselves just to proofread a few things. But definitely from the next steps that we need to be looking at is, can we directly connect to Epify so that this data is extracted automatically? And then we have a continuous flow of this data coming in and sitting into either our databases or on some view somewhere that we can then constantly query. Secondly, we would want to definitely do something to do with natural language processing, because in Zimbabwe we use words like bo, we use words like wangu, and they generally mean something very positive. But when we're detecting it in English, they'll fall under the meh. I'm not so sure what they were saying, right? And if we do that, then we're able to pick out what the actual sentiment is in local language. Do we need to change our copy so that it can speak to everyone in their language? And then from there, we want to automatically do the visualizations. So nicer visualizations, a dashboard that the board member or even the brand team can see as they're on the go, just to see how many people are happy on social media, how many are not. Do we need to post more? Do we need to post less? Do we need to address something? What are the keywords around that such that when they start their day, they have all this insight in the palm of their hands through a mobile dashboard? You can do that with Power BI or Looker Studio, whatever you fancy. And on the last bit, you then need to create an alerting system. So maybe something is going down, people are not happy, and you need to know at a certain number of posts that are negative, we need to know that we are under, for lack of a better term, attack. And we need to respond to that, and then probably make sure that our brand is not damaged, even if it's a weekend, just so that we don't react later, but we are proactively working towards protecting our brand image. And then at the last bit, we can then connect that to our branding KPIs, our revenue KPIs, just to see, oh, by the way, KPIs are key performance indicators, so that we can see what works and what we need to work on a little bit more so that we can get to the next bit. Yeah? Oh, I need to zoom in. Sorry. Let me see if I can do that here. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Thank you. Is that better? Or a little bit more? Alrighty. So Do you want to take a picture? I can leave that up for a bit. Just give me a thumbs up if you're good. Okay. Okay. Good. You guys have access to the CodeLab notebook. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's for everyone else online. Hello, guys. Thank you for that. All right, so whilst we're waiting, give me a thumbs up when we're ready to go back to the slides. Awesome. How am I for time, Laura? Okay, so back, yeah. So just a quick highlight, it is definitely not an ad. But here are some opportunities for you from Google and Friends. So we have the Women Tech Makers community. We also have what is called the Google Developer Experts Program. You can be literally an expert in anything, and then you can just get a little badge that says you're an expert from Google. And then we also have developer groups around each and every city that you can join in and then give talks or hang out with other people and talk about the different tools that you use. And the talks are not limited to just Google products. It is any products that you find. Then there's an Experience AI training that teaches educators on AI and delivering AI lessons, and also teaches young people and anyone who wants to start right from the basics all the way to creating their first machine learning model. And we've got a Cloud Innovator program where if you're working on Google Cloud, sometimes at the end of the year around December, we send you swag to just say you're such a cool person for working on Google Cloud, and the certifications on Cloud Skills Boost. So I'm about to round up my talk. These are some of the things you can look forward to from Google. And to leave you with a little something that is not sugar, here's a code lab you can try later. And you can scan the QR code. It literally takes 10 minutes, and you can create your own sentiment analysis tool on Google Cloud. It is a free code lab, so once you scan, you get access to it as long as you're using your Gmail account. So I'll give you a minute for that, and I think I'll be happy to take questions.
That was really, really cool. Again, while you guys are thinking of questions, I'm going to ask a quick question. All of those sort of communities and groups and things you were talking about, are they all over the place? Like if someone lives in this, whatever city, how would they find out what's available close to them? Or is it online or?
Oh, cool. So if you want to find out what community is available in your city, you go to developers.google.com. And right there, you can put in your city name and you find all of the communities that are available in that city.
Awesome. Cool. Any other questions?
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for the talk. I want to ask a question around cost. I do a lot of this work for personal stuff and also at work, but I do it the hard way, writing my own code. So I want to understand how would I go about working smarter instead of harder and using Google tools. What's the cost like? How much would it cost me, say, in a month?
Okay, cool. I get that because in the morning, whilst I was running this notebook trying to make sure it is working well, I ran out of tokens. So that was fun. But you get a couple of tokens when you're using Google AI Studio. So that API key I was using to use Gemini 2.5 Pro is through my API key that comes in for free via Google AI Studio. However, you have a limited number of tokens each and every day that you can utilize. So in terms of cost, depending on your workload, you could maybe play around with the different models. I'd say if you have got a bigger workload, then use Vertex AI. So instead of using Google.Gen AI, the library, you'll be using Google.Vertex AI. And then you can work with larger workloads with that. And everything else was free. So, yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? There we go.
Thanks. I really enjoyed the talk. I'm curious what has been the response from like local enterprises for when you show them this level of like insight and, you know, the brand perception and everything. Like, how do they respond? Are they asking questions that can kind of further your development tools to add more features, or are they more like, okay, you need to jump on it? Yeah, just curious about
Okay.
the response.
All right, I hear you. So my main line of work is in finance, highly regulated. So I'm going to try to make this a high level response, if you may let me. So what usually happens is if you create a summary report, executive report, whatever report you make, AI enabled, usually just add in a marker to say, okay, this was AI generated. But when the client sees it, they usually go wow and cool. And after they go wow and cool, they send you what they've created and say, replicate this. So they tend to then give you the context that you need, and then you start working backwards again to ask, so where does this number come from? And where do I get this sort of data? Some of that data is in line with the performance indicators. So they would have set up their goals at the beginning of the year, and they're somewhere on someone's document, on someone's machine. And they need to get that from that person, and then you get it, and you're able to then embed that. And you have to convince them too, because some of the documents that they have, they don't want them to be on a vector database, but they want the information on it. So it's also convincing them so that they can create a new module on the system that they're working on to add in those details, so that you have access to those details without the other proprietary information. So it's you work hand in hand with them, and you just set your goals together as you go. They tend to just say, wow, and then this is what I want. Yeah.
That is so interesting. I don't know, we all need to learn how to navigate that stuff. Thank you so much for that talk. That was amazing. Thank you for the chocolates. Maybe you could put up some of those QR codes on Discord. I'm sure people will want to go check them out later. Awesome.
Definitely.